Hi everyone, I just wanted to connect with you guys regarding the connecting group for this week. So this week is the last session on the One Another series of sermons that you had here in the church. So the sermon that we're going to be discussing this week is the Teach and Admonish One Another. So I think that the points that are important for us to reflect and consider in this discussion this week are simply this. What is the point of teaching and admonishing one another? So Paul, he tells us on verse 11 that there are no Jews, there are no Greeks, there are no circumcised, uncircumcised, slave, free, Scythian, barbarian, but Christ is all and in all. So clearly the point of teaching and the point of admonishing one another, even though those are two words that have different priorities. The teaching is a more positive one. The admonishing is correcting something. So both of them have one purpose: to help form and shape Christ's character and virtues in us. That is the goal of the Christian life. So this is essentially the first point that we need to discuss. Right? So the second thing that is related to that, the second question we need to ask is, so if the goal of the Christian life is to have Jesus Christ shaped in us, how is that supposed to take place? The way it takes place is that it goes back then to verse 16 that says, let the word of Christ dwell in you richly. So the point that Paul is making and coming across to us is this: if Christ wants to be shaped and formed in us, his character, his virtue, what he thinks, what he believes, his interests, how is that going to happen? When we let the gospel, the message and the life of Jesus Christ dwell in us richly. And how is that going to take place? Through the teaching and admonishing one another. So essentially, when we create a community, an environment of followers of Jesus Christ, both in the formal sense as the church, as we gather every weekend, and also in the informal sense as we gather as a group of people, as friends, as families, as couples, as a connecting group, that we are sharing life with one another. And as we share life with one another, we are able to communicate the gospel and how the gospel changes us, how the gospel changes the way I think about myself, the way I think about others, the way I think about why I do what I do, the way I look into the sin into my life, because Paul in chapter 3, he talks about us to put off or put to death the sin in our lives and to put on the virtues and characteristics of Christ. All of this is going to take place on the everyday life as we share life with one another. So what I wanted you guys maybe to discuss this week and to consider is this: in your group, in the context, in the culture of your group, what can you do? What routine, what rhythms can you create in your group that you can facilitate this kind of conversations, this kind of way that you get to know each other, encourage each other, and teach each other, and admonish each other, so that everyone, day by day, are growing in the likeness of Christ? What are some of the practical things you guys can do? Because every group is going to be different. Every group has its own culture, its own challenges, and so on and so forth, right? So this is what I have for you guys for this week. I hope you guys enjoy. Follow your guides in that you have, your booklets, and I hope you guys have a great and healthy discussion, and may the Lord bless you.